Good thing we're doing this with
Okay.
Ryan. Okay, Haley, you're
Yes.
in.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, you're in too. Fab.
Mm-hmm. And then it says
Look at
like,
us.
We're
okay.
all recording.
Yay.
Recording everywhere.
We're all recording everywhere. You
That's
got your
awesome.
headphones.
I've got headphones.
And you
Yay.
sound okay.
Do you want to know what's the funniest thing about this? So I didn't go out to my car
Yeah.
because I dug through my little technology box on the day that I was digging and organizing all my HDMI cables. And this was in the bottom of the box, like the bottom of the box. And these are like old Delta headphones, like
Yes.
the free ones that you get on the plane.
That's amazing. Hey, thanks Delta for the free
Right.
headphones.
Thanks, Delta.
You're saving us right now.
This episode is brought to you by Delta Airlines.
Don't we wish?
Right?
That's the
Goals.
good sponsorship money right there.
Right? Those are goals. I'm saying this now to the two of you, okay?
Oh, heard that.
Well,
That's
we're so
amazing.
excited to be doing this with
Oh,
you.
this is gonna be
Of
so much
course,
fun.
you're our first guest, and
Yay.
ideally, I feel like you need to be a regular character if you're down.
I'm down with being a regular character.
Yay.
I am down.
Okay, good. I was like, I feel like just between the magazine and this, and you're doing your own blog, it's just like we're all
Yeah.
cross promoting, right? I'm just
Of course.
so off on the cross promoting.
Well, and then that's how it works, right? I mean, we all come together as a community. We support each other's businesses, profiles. We help each other's profiles. It's awesome. I love this. I love the industry, but I love this in particular. And let me just say, the magazine is right here on my nightstand, and I absolutely love it. The physical copy is gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. We're very proud of it. It's like crazy to like have it in our hands, like in person, you know?
Yeah.
It is.
I know, because I had gone through every single page when it was on digital the day that you launched it, right? So of course I looked at it on my tablet. I looked at it on my laptop. Like I had gone through and just looked at every page. like this is so awesome. I was so excited, but it's just a whole nother world when you see it in person as well. You have that physical copy.
Yeah. The physical copy is where it's at. It's so funny. Some of the girls were telling me they're like, it's so nice. I don't want to bend like the edges. I have to be so careful with it. And I'm like, I love that.
Right. I almost smacked one of my friend's hands the other day because like he had it and he was reading my article in it, which I was like, oh, cool. But then I was like, well, you're folding it back a little too far. Can you not fold it back that far?
Yeah.
Just let it open itself. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I don't want creases in my brand new Skin in the City.
Right. You're like, not on my spread. Don't fold my spread.
Right. Now, because this is your premiere issue, do you have like a first copy that's like framed or saved somewhere, like tucked away in a...
We're going to. So like Haley has one, I have one. We just gave one to my mom today. But yeah, I think we need to like get like a special frame or like something to like memorialize it a little bit. And then right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Think of something.
Of course.
Cute. Haley, add that to our very long list.
Oh my gosh. Never ending list of to-dos.
I mean, you two have been so busy.
Yes.
We have been.
Right. I hate when people say like, I'm so busy, but like, holy crap, we're busy.
Busy, like really busy.
Yeah, but it's been so fun, you know. I love talking with people and I feel like now that's my job. So I'm like, ooh, like who do we get to talk to today? Like it's great.
Definitely.
And talking about my favorite subject, which is skin and the beauty industry and business and all the things.
Well, of course. I mean, this industry, I love it. There's so many facets and so many angles that you can go at it, right? So whether you have a passion for being in the treatment room and just building a full-time clientele in your local community, or if you want to actually build some type of a brand or sell an item or just dedicate your expertise, I just love all of the different facets, and you can literally go in any direction that you want while still being an esthetician in the industry, right?
Totally. I mean, never in a million years did I think as an esthetician that I'd be doing this, right? Making a magazine and creating a podcast and all these other things. But that's the great, like you said, that's the great thing about this industry. We're not stuck just doing one thing. And I think people that get into this industry typically are creatives and they want to have different outlets, right?
Yeah.
So we can do facials and waxing and makeup and spray tans and lashes and brows. And I mean, I could just keep going, right? Like
Yeah.
all of the things.
Exactly. Well, I've had some former students in the past that they were already on a career path in something, like actually, I remember one student particularly that she was already a journalist. And that was something that was her original passion out of high school, out of college. And then she was starting to get she was going to get a little bored. And, mainly, and I don't remember exactly what she was writing about at the time, but whatever she was writing about, she wasn't happy with it. So she went to aesthetic school because she thought, well, it's something that she was really attracted to. She went to spas and got facials all the time. So she was like, oh, I'm going to go do this. It seems like something that would really feed my creativity.
Yeah.
She went through the school program, ended up by the end of the school program, she hated it. She actually doesn't like touching people. And she realized
Right.
this once she had gone through the program. She's like, honestly, I'm not interested in this. But she landed a job working back in journalism, but with that newfound knowledge and expertise in skin and skincare. And so she went right back into the industry, but this time with an actual passion.
Wow.
Because she was writing
Right.
about something, a newfound passion that she found. So she still loves skincare, but she just recognized that she was like, okay, I love everything about this business, but I have no interest in touching people.
Right. So she has added knowledge, but right, she doesn't want to touch people.
Yeah, which is fine. And I mean, she's written some great articles, so I'm like, this is awesome. I mean, how cool is that you thought that you were gonna change your whole career path and go a different direction, and then you ended up just taking that newfound knowledge. It was almost just like continuing education for your current career path.
Right. And I love that. And I think more people need to take that on. It's like, I think, we go to school or we get a job and we think this is our dream job or this is exactly what we want to do. And then we get into it and we realize like, oh, I don't actually like doing this. Like, for example, for me, like I didn't like waxing. So I just slowly stopped doing it. And that's another benefit of working in this industry.
Yeah, definitely. Oh God, I've gone through a wave over the years of, I can think back of all the different services that I did and tried. I tried lash extensions and I did it for about a year, and no, like it was so tedious, and it was so, I mean, even just the positioning. I mean, I'm 6'3", and a lot of my height, like I have long legs, but a lot of my height is also in my torso. So it didn't matter what kind of bed I had them on, how I adjusted them. I was always going to kind of lean over or hunch over in some way, even though I tried my best to reposition my clients or raise the table or something so that I could be in a better position. But I did lashes for barely a year. And then I was like, no, you can hang that up. I told the salon owner that I was working at, I was like, find somebody else. I'm not on this. I was like, I'll continue with massage. I'll continue with my skincare. Or like waxing, I went through a wave of doing body waxing, and again, didn't mind it, but it wasn't my favorite service to do. And then for some reason, well, I know why. I worked out of a salon that I was the only technician in a building full of hairstylists, right? So there were some of the hairstylists that became my clients, and I did either Brazilian or bikini waxes on them. And, women, word of mouth, they all started telling their clients like, oh, go see Ryan. Like, yeah, he's a guy, but don't worry. Like, he's great, really professional. Yeah. And before I knew it, like I was just doing nonstop bikini and Brazilians. And I was like, this is not what I set forward for myself in my career. At no point did I think that I would come into work and be like, oh, all my clients today are Brazilian waxes or bikini waxes. Like I'm just going to stare at vaginas all day. This is great.
This is great. Right? Oh my God. Things you just never expect.
Yes. Things you never expect.
Okay, so this brings me to a question for you. And I don't think I've actually ever asked you this.
Oh.
When did you decide, did like you have like an aha moment, like I'm going to esthetician school? Like where were you, or like when did you decide that this is what you were going to do?
Yeah. So I started back in 2004 as a massage therapist, and my specialty was in neuromuscular therapy and lymphatic drainage massage. So I had a kind of a clinical specialty to massage that I always wanted when I went through my training. And I had looked around at a lot of like medical type spaces that I could work in, but I could work in like some physical therapy offices, but their positions for massage therapists were very pigeonholed to like specific activities. So, I didn't see it as something that I could like really grow in. Right. So I ended up starting working at a spa in downtown Atlanta. And then I got recruited over to this salon. Like this manager she was a really nice lady. She actually came to this spa to get a massage for me. And then at the end of it, she's like totally slid me her business card and was like, if you're ever not happy working here, I manage a salon down the street, and like we were looking for a massage therapist. I was like, oh wow.
Okay.
So I mean, long story short, like I get over to that salon where I spent the majority of my career building my clientele, and it was strictly a hair salon, and they had a separate spa space, basically one room built out, where they had an esthetician. But then when they like polled all their clients were like, we'd love to see a massage therapist.
Of course.
So that's what got me in there. And then I had a roommate that was an esthetician. And so her and I kind of got to I was always coming home from work comparing notes, like how many clients did you have today? How much money did you make? How much money did you get in tips? Like, how we are. We're like, as professionals and friends, we always like get the down low and like what happened with your day with your clients.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I noticed really early on that she was making much more money than I was.
Mm. There you
like
go.
very early on. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. and I started asking her more questions and really studying and doing the math. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm charging, at the time I was charging like $85, $95 for an hour long massage.
Mm-hmm.
And she's charging like $120 for a chemical peel that takes 30 minutes. And she's making $260 in an hour. I'm over here with a little $95 in the hour. She's, I've got one client within that hour making that service charge, and maybe that client tips me, 10 or 20 bucks. She's seen two separate clients that are going to tip her on top of each of those services, which are already double the amount that I was charging. Right. So, I mean, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Like, I am in the wrong business.
And I would say, as a massage therapist, you have to work way harder. Like physically,
oh my goodness,
so much harder on your body.
Yeah, I think when you learn good massage, one thing that you're taught is body mechanics, and body mechanics were really drilled into the school that I went to. Like that was a huge part of our training. So I can say that, if I was in full-time massage for a long period of time, like I would be very, very good at it. But yes, it would definitely, it's much more strenuous than applying a chemical peel, I mean,
it just is. Yeah.
Much more strenuous.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it was crazy because I reached out to the manager that managed that salon at the time. And I just said, hey, I'm really interested in aesthetics. I know you had an esthetician here before. How could I get into this? And I mean, thankfully she was a very knowledgeable and ambitious salon manager that went out of her way to do a lot of the research for me and go, okay, here's what we need to do. Like, we need to go get you set up in some training. We need to like put you through a program. For the state of Georgia, originally I went through an apprenticeship on my initial training. I did go back to school later on and actually do the full school training. But at the initial start of it, we just started me as an apprentice. And then I traveled to New York to actually work with Lydia Serfati, the owner of the Repechage skincare brand. And I mean, she's a phenomenal esthetician. She was like one of the founding kind of celebrity estheticians in the US from the early 80s with her 4-layer facial.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to train under her was absolutely amazing. And I went to New York multiple trips to do, because she would have these like week-long symposiums. We would go through all of the product knowledge, all the ingredient knowledge. We would go through all the protocols. And I ended up being a trainer part-time for them in the Southeast, or in Georgia and some of the surrounding Southeastern states, after I'd worked with the brand for a while, you know. So it was a really, really cool opportunity, and kind of a just serendipitous way it worked out. But definitely
that's your path. That's the amazing thing, right? You just went with where you were kind of supposed, you just kind of followed your path.
You follow the path, follow the opportunity, you know, you do your networking, you get out there, you know, you got to meet people, you got to put yourself out there. Of course, now we have social media. You know, it's crazy when I think about where I was in building a full-time clientele out of that salon. And at the time, Instagram didn't exist, and Facebook was something that, you know, there wasn't even advertisements on Facebook yet. It was just still just like a social community, and you posted random things to your wall, and you know, and just that was it, you know. And now it's like a whole nother level of involvement with social media. I wish that I had social media back when I was first building my clientele, because it was all about, you know, getting out there, driving around, going to networking functions. I was part of like a business networking group that I went to 6 a.m. every Tuesday morning. And I, you know, like, I mean, just constantly handing out business cards, going to events, meeting people, volunteering, just doing anything I could to try to stay. Yeah. I mean, really though, to just try to stay relevant and stay in people's awareness in the community.
Well, congratulations. I have to say that you did, even then and now. It's so obvious, you know. And I think it's amazing. You know, it's funny you're saying like you wish you had social media when you started, and I say that as well. But sometimes, you know, I look at it as it was good and bad. Whatever was meant to be was right. We didn't have social media when we started, so we kind of know how to, like, you know, literally knock on doors and hand out those physical business cards. And I think in some ways, I think that did benefit us to where we are now. But
all the way.
As an esthetician, you can grow a following, you can grow a community and a clientele much faster with Instagram.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of smoke and mirrors.
There's a lot of smoke and mirrors. Yeah, a lot of smoke and mirrors. I love seeing the excitement on people's profiles now that people are getting into Instagram Reels, and they'll see how much like wild engagement one of their first Reels will happen, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, y'all! Like, I'm blowing up. I had over 100,000 people like this post," and you're like, crickets the rest of the time. Like, it was like that was your one, like, you go girl, everybody loved you for that one.
It's not as easy to go viral these days, you know.
No, it's not. You got to stay consistent, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, good Lord, even with, you know, I spent so much of 2020 writing a lot of articles and just getting a lot of just my general experience and content out of my brain and into this blog that I knew that I wanted to launch at the beginning of 2021. So, you know, I was lucky to have the time to be able to sit down and write a bunch of that stuff. But I mean, like, just the sheer, well, you know, I was talking to you a lot of the time I was developing it, and I'm like, holy crap, is this what you do? Like, when I was building out the content calendar, and I'm working with the web designer for the site, and we're talking about, you know, building out the scheduling, and I've got to get an app to schedule all the posts, and now there's a scheduler that I got to purchase for the website because the blog's going to auto load and I'm like, holy crap.
It's a lot.
It never ends.
It never, Haley knows.
But I mean, thank God that we have these types of like apps and things, technology now, that we can auto, you know, just generate, well, not auto generate, but just schedule a lot of things. You know, the generation is still very manual, because I have to sit down on the weekends and be like, okay, what are we going to write about this week?
Right. And sometimes you're not feeling inspired, you know, you got to feel inspired, and you need to know what your audience wants. So speaking of what your audience wants, let's tell the audience, if they don't know, about your new website, about the new blog, and how it can help them and benefit them. I mean, I'm already doing my new massage moves every day.
Yay. And that's what I love. I like I said, I mean, the creating the Beauty by Ryan blog was sort of like a therapeutic experiment for me because I needed a place apart from all of these brands that I've worked full time from. I needed a separate digital existence which represented who I am as a professional in the industry, right? I didn't come into this industry just starting by working for cosmetics. I've been a licensed esthetician since 2004, massage therapist, makeup artist. Like I've done all of these things. I've worked with a lot of local magazines within my own state. I got the opportunity to represent 3 other brands prior to cosmetics and actually help with product development and marketing and sales. I've traveled so much. I've traveled all of Canada, every single little tiny, crazy little town and big town. Like I've traveled and driven or train ride most of Canada, all of the US, South America. I've snuck into Cuba to go deliver some skincare training to a resort property there, years ago. Like it was crazy the things that I've done, but I needed to have a digital presence or a home that was like, okay, well, this is who Ryan is, because cosmetics does rely on myself as, I'm the global education director. So I help to create a lot of the content and the product development and the marketing around the products that you see and the positioning of them. And they do rely on me as a professional to really guide them that way. But when you go and search for like Ryan Christopher, you're going to find Ryan Christopher in cosmetics. So where's your source of content for Ryan Christopher and everything that he's done in his career? So that's really why I wanted to create it first off. And I will say, if you go there right now, I've got about 5 blogs started on there right now. And that was just sort of a kickoff, kind of a soft launch package of content to get it there. And then I'll start posting, I think by the end of this month in February, I'll start posting new blogs on a weekly basis, and then it'll all flow out into the social media content as you've seen it so far. And like I said, it's all scheduled, thank God.
Thank God for scheduling.
But awesome. I will say that the beautybyryan.com, so the purpose of it is, even though we have a lot of estheticians that follow me because I am the education director for a skin professional brand, it's still very general information, and it's still information that can be consumed by professionals and consumers alike, because my whole positioning, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do this, like, what am I going to do? Am I going to ramble a bunch of skincare ingredients like everybody else does? Am I going to, just create that? I really don't like that. I consider myself more of an artist in the sense that I'm just going to be very expressive, and I'm going to express the things that I see happening in the industry, factual things that happen in the industry, or I can respond in an intelligent way in this blog to things that I see happen in the industry, maybe even from a brand perspective that I might not even agree with, right? And I can't express those feelings through a brand channel like cosmetics or Alouette, or I need to do that in an independent space where I can just say, hey, this is what I see going on as a professional in the industry, and I just want to let everybody know, like, this is where it's at. Or, hey, I see a lot of misconceptions happening around a certain topic. Let me just, from my end of the professional expertise, let me just set the record straight on that, just from my end, just so that you've got my 2 cents out there.
Yeah, you want to speak for yourself, right? You don't want to speak on behalf of someone else. These are your beliefs and how you feel about whatever it is that you want to talk about.
Yeah. And I think too, there is a perception out there that when you see content from me, especially educational content that comes from cosmetics, I think there is an assumption, a little bit of an assumption, that that's sort of like pre-branded content, like, oh, well, Ryan's not only going to say nice things about cosmetics because he works for cosmetics. So of course he's going to say nice things, and I try to tell people all the time, like, I used cosmetics 10 years prior, for 10 years prior, not even just 10 years ago, like for an extended 10 years prior to coming to work for cosmetics, I used their brand alongside other brands in my own spa businesses that I owned and then helped manage as well. So, I was involved in a lot of local spa businesses here in Atlanta, Georgia, and cosmetics was one of the brands that I ran into being stocked in some of the spas over the years. So I have used OptiCrystal and a lot of these hero products. I've done pomegranate peel for years on my clients and absolutely love this line. So yes, I am employed full-time for the brand, but I'm also, I'm not completely partial just because I'm employed there.
Right.
Right. And I mean, that's why I love you. You're sharing, yes, if you're working for cosmetics, of course, you're going to share all the great ingredients and all the benefits, but you're not just I think you're working there. Maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but you're working there because you do believe in the products, right? You
I
do
do.
believe in the formulas. You do
Well,
believe in how they're being
it's funny
manufactured.
to say, okay, it's funny to say or make that statement. I believe in the formulas because I make the
I'm like, you
formulas now,
created
right? So
them.
now I'm like, no, I
Right.
know for a fact that
Yeah,
this,
these are mine.
right?
Yeah, you're like, I've told them to put the
Yeah,
niacinamide in,
So yeah, it's good.
So yeah, I'm
yeah,
like,
it's good.
Ryan's not even, I was gonna say he's whispering. You're not whispering, you're telling them,
No,
put
yeah,
this
yeah.
in
I'm
there.
like, this is what we want. These are the key ingredients that we need. We need
Yeah.
them at this percentage because
Right.
this is what we've seen in studies that's proven to be effective. So
Yeah.
it's creating a roadmap. And a lot of times it's not just, I won't say that every single product is that easy to where we just write out exactly what we want. I mean, we
I would say
create
that's actually,
concepts.
yeah, it has to be a concept, and then you got to
Right, it has
create
to be
it.
a
And then,
concept, but it has to be actually physically be able to be created, right? Like
yes,
from a
That's
chemistry
important.
level.
Yes.
But I mean, it's funny though, because there are a lot of people are involved in any brand. And I'm not just talking about cosmetics or any of the brands I've worked with. In any brand in the world, there are a lot of people generally involved in the creation and the ideation of these products,
right.
and it's based on a lot of trend information, a lot of data, historical buying patterns, and things where we could say, okay, well, everybody went really ham on the preset makeup palettes for the past like 5 years. We were like, everybody had their own branded color palette. People are saturated, the whole market saturated in palettes. So we expect that the consumer is probably going to shift back to more just preset, smaller, like couple eyeshadows and a blush color palettes that make sense, right? So we can already see that buying habit start to happen. So like brands see that data and they start to make shifts in the next 2 to 3 years of their planning and their development, right? So it's interesting because we pay attention to a lot of those trends, but there are a lot of people at these companies involved in making suggestions and giving feedback. And we have the same thing here. It's a team effort here at Cosmetics in Atlanta. So it's funny though, because I have been in meetings where somebody has pushed really hard for a concept, like a product concept. Oh, we want something like a mask that has this and can do this and can do this. And I'll be like, well, that's just not physically possible on the planet of Earth. Sorry. It's a great concept, but it just can't happen. Like on a chemistry level, in reality, like, sorry, it's a great idea, but no, it doesn't work like that.
You can't mix those things together and create what you want. And that's what people don't realize either. There's so much that goes into creating these products.
So much goes into it. I mean, it's not just that easy, right? We work with good manufacturing labs, companies that have chemists that are very qualified to create these formulas. So luckily, it's not so much a hit or miss for us because we have been a brand that's been on the market for over 20 years. So we've, kind of gotten used to this development process. We're not a new brand. So when you come up with the concept's just the concept. Then the lab starts to execute on that concept and they bring you back multiple submissions. What we call submissions are just different lab samples of different versions. And I mean, I could get 3 or 4 different versions that each ingredient list would be completely different, but all have a similar function or might have a different texture or color, scent, something. And I'll evaluate those, look at the ingredient list, really study what they've put together and see, like, did it hit the mark for the concept that we've created or did they completely miss the mark? And then give feedback based on that. So we just kind of go back and forth working on these submissions, just whittling it down when I get to the point where we've gotten to something that's truly on the mark for what we were going for, then we start looking into the efficacy of it. And that's when we start pulling in test groups of people in the office. So we have like an evaluation sheet, and we'll pull together at least 15 to 20 people and have them all start using this particular formula in a routine and giving us feedback. But they have to stick to the routine that we've given them. They can't use anything else. So, I mean, we just completely disrupts people's lives all the time at our office.
They're just guinea pigs, right?
I mean, constantly. But I mean, they volunteer for it. You know,
oh, I would volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Haley would be a guinea pig.
Yeah, you guys can mail me whatever. I'll try it all.
I love it. You know, my skin, it's funny. My skin goes in waves. I mean, I've tested so many different things, and I prefer to test. I don't have to test them all myself, but I prefer to test them myself along with the test groups of people that we do. And so I go through lots of bad skin weeks sometimes where we're testing some things that are just not for my skin type at all. But I want to have the experience. You know, I want to see it. I want to feel it. I want to smell it. I want to know what our customers are going to experience when they get these products on their skin. And that's really cool.
It is so cool. And it's also so important. You know, I think just as an esthetician in general, like if you haven't used every single product that you're putting on your clients that you're selling, you probably should. I mean, give me your opinion on that, because for me, like I wouldn't use stuff on my clients until I've used it on myself, because I got to know how it feels, like you said, how it feels, how it smells, how it reacts, even though of course they're going to have a little bit different, they're much different of skin types than me. I had to have like, I feel like my own skin is kind of like a baseline, which then, you know, we're kind of torturing our skin as estheticians, but hello, isn't that why we got into this industry? Because we like to mess with our skin and do all things.
Yeah. No, you know what? I'll speak to it from a couple different angles, because this is actually a very relative topic that I see happening from a business perspective. And I see this happen a lot. It used to happen in the spas that I managed in the past before I worked on the brand side of the business. Okay, so first of all, just like you said, if you're an esthetician that owns and operates your own spa and you are taking on a skincare line, like you're going to invest in a particular brand or more than one brand, whatever, to offer your clients these products, then yeah, you should physically test and evaluate every single one of them. Not necessarily from a perspective of, oh, are they effective or not, but you should be able to explain to your clients firsthand what their experience is going to be. You know, like, oh, I'm recommending, like, I don't have dry skin, but I can recommend this moisturizer to you because, you know, it is da 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 da. It has this one ingredient in it. You're going to love it because when you put it on, it feels really rich and creamy, and it takes a little bit to absorb. But I remember when I tried it, I felt really dewy like all night long. And I even woke up dewy the next day. I mean, when you say those kind of things, it's that verbiage is that what gives your clients the confidence to purchase it from you and take it home. When you really give them that firsthand experience, when you're just spouting off a bunch of active ingredients and being like, oh my God, it's got tetrahexyl ascorbate and it's gonna be so brightening, you know, like the clients, right? Yeah. And they just glaze over. They have no idea what you're talking about, but they're not going to correct you. They're just going to be nice, and they're going to go, okay, and shake their heads and nod, and then they're not going to buy it, you know, or even if they do, they're not going to know what to do with it. For sure. But, you know, you need that firsthand experience. Now, I'll say it from another perspective, from more of like a spa manager, spa owner perspective. So it drives me crazy when estheticians are working in a spa. You've got a whole shelf of products to sell and recommend to your clients, but you only sell the ones that you've deemed are your favorites. Insane. Drives me insane. Like, absolutely insane. So and I don't see it happen. Obviously, I don't see it happen with individual operators where you're just working by yourself, because the fact of the matter is that if you're an individual operator, you're probably only going to purchase and stock the products that are your favorites anyway, right? So you're just not going to invest in a whole line. You're going to be one of those estheticians that just cherry picks specific products, which, by the way, doesn't really make you a viable buyer for brands out there. Like skincare brands see that type of buyer as a very exhausting person that they're not really going to make a lot of money with. So, I mean, just FYI for those listening. I mean, if you are a cherry picking esthetician that's like, if you've ever reached out to a brand, I know you're out there, the ones listening, I know you're out there, you've reached out to a brand and said, oh, I want to carry your line, but I only want to carry these 5 products. I don't want to carry anything else. Like, they don't want your business. They don't. Like, they might open your account because, like, sure, whatever, but they don't want your business. They don't. They, you know, when brands look for potential spa partners, whether you're an individual operator or you're operating a multi-room spa, a brand's looking for a serious business owner that understands that we've created this whole assortment of product in order to help you as a business person be able to catch as many of the different skin types, skin conditions, and personalities that are going to come through your door. And you're going to miss out on a lot of retail sales if you're just stocking your top 10 favorites from your 3 favorite brands that gave you a very, very low opening order minimum, you know? So it's just that kind of thing that you have to think through. Like, what type of business model are you trying to set up for yourself when it comes to selling retail product? Because if you are just going to cherry pick some of your favorites and create this really odd niche assortment of product that you really, really like, then you are just going to miss on a lot of clients. But if you support your business with a full brand, and you don't have to stock the shelf 6 products deep if you're a single room operator, because you're never going to go through that much product before it goes bad. But if you do start your business where you dedicate yourself to one full brand and you're able to offer a range of cleanser textures, a range of treatment serums that have different ingredients to address different conditions, you know, a range of moisturizers to catch all the different skin types you're going to have, then that's when you increase your level or the odds of success when it comes to retail sales in your spa, because you've created a variety that your clients can shop from. And you've actually shown a little bit of given that client a little bit of confidence because of the fact that you've put confidence in a single representation. You know, actually, from a consumer's perspective, when they see a bunch of random brands and like maybe one product from this brand, 2 products from that brand, 3 products from that, and it's just kind of a mishmash, that doesn't help a consumer. Like, a consumer doesn't know how to shop that, and they just get
confusing.
It does. It gets confusing. Yeah. Which, I mean, you know, you are there as the esthetician to make the recommendation. Absolutely. I'm just saying, I've seen statistically it be more successful if you just invest in a single brand just to get started, you know, just to get started, show that full representation, show that confidence, you know, marry your brand marketing with that brand's marketing so that it really shows a strong marketing strategy. And then as you get your sell through and get your client volume going, then you can expand into other product brands, but you know, get a good foundation first. Right. Or your own. Yeah.
I mean, I can say from personal experience, and Haley, I think you can probably speak on this too. Like, when I first started, I definitely was probably cherry picking also because I just didn't have like the funds to like stock my shelves. But over the years, as I built my business and my clientele, and I was a fully stocked cosmetics, you know, stockist.
Yeah.
Even if I only had 2 of everything, it just gave, because each client's skin is unique, right?
Every client's skin's unique.
Every single person needs the same cleanser, the same serum, the same moisturizer. It's very rare that people are going to be on the same routine unless you just, like you said, you get stuck. Like, everyone has, okay, like I do have to say, like, we do sell like a lot of clarity, but it's not like every single person has to have clarity. And if they don't have breakouts, I'm not going to give them clarity. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Of course, there's always those products though that are going to just like sell a little bit more. So
yes.
It's like, you know, okay, for us, when we were super busy, you know, it's like 3 to 5 of everything. And then it's like, Haley knew she needed to order like 10 clarity and 10 simply brilliant, you know, because people were going through this a lot faster.
Yeah.
But I can say from personal experience, and for me to mentally wrap my brain around using the one brand and treating those clients' skin. For me, using multiple brands seemed confusing to me as an esthetician. And if I felt confused, then for sure my client's going to be fused. It's like, well, why am I going to use that cleanser from that brand and not this one? You know,
exactly.
It's like, what's the difference? And then as the esthetician, you're like, I actually don't even really know, unless there's like very specific reasons, but usually I think it's like you're saying, it's better to stick with one full brand. That's the reason they have brands, is to have, you know, a collection of hopefully a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I
And I
was
will say, for, because I know a lot of estheticians out there are listening are just like you said. And I mean, just like myself, when I was in my own individual operation, we don't, most of us don't go into this with a lot of capital or just
no.
investment money ready to just invest $3,000 or $4,000 in a whole skincare brand. Like, that's crazy. Most of us don't have that money. There are a great handful of brands out there that are professional only brands that offer zero
No minimum.
minimums. You
Yeah.
can just open an account with them and you can just start ordering. Still really good quality brands. Skin Script, for example,
Yes.
and you were using one of their masks the other night.
Yeah,
I
I
saw you were putting one of their masks, and I loved it. But I love their mask and their enzyme peels. I love the scents. Their enzyme peels, you could do all kinds of seasonal treatments with those. So I absolutely love them. And they have a no minimum. You can just go to their website, have your esthetician license, get signed up, and start ordering. So there are a lot of great brands out there. And I would say that, if it's just a great place to get started. If you're just get that consistency going in your treatments, get it going in your brand retail representation. And then you can start leveling up, as you start to make money and you start to put some money to the side for your future investments. And what's the next brand you're going to introduce, or what's the next service, or is there a device that you're saving up for? There's always a way to level up. And I would say even companies like Universal companies, a lot of people forget about them.
God, I was going to say, I haven't ordered stuff from them forever, but I used to order from them all the time.
Yeah. And, they've recently, in the past couple of years, they kind of revamped and refreshed some of their assortments and their brands. But I mean, they sell everything. They sell disposable supplies. They do have some skincare brands under their belt. They've got some body products. There's a variety of things. The Spa Mart is another business very similar to Universal companies, that they have an assortment of brands that partner with them along with disposable supplies. So, I mean, again, those brands don't require, you can just order whatever you want straight through those distribution setup companies. And Repressage actually started the same way, going through Cosmoprof. That's how they did a lot of their primary distribution. So you can always, that's one of the cool things about this business too, right? Is that you can get started with very low investment and really start building your business. The thing that terrifies me, oh my God, you want to know what terrifies me?
Yes.
So I have been to like quality spas. I've been to med spas where I've opened the cabinets and I have seen like some freaking like Queen Helene moisturizer or like some type of Walmart brand.
What?
Like
nice apricot scrub, maybe.
I've never seen an apricot scrub. I think they knew better, but I mean, I've seen some horrible shortcutting things happening in some treatment rooms. It's scary what's out there.
It is scary. That's why
when I go for spa services, I'm the one. Like, I'm the one that you don't leave me alone in the room, because I will open all the cabinets and look in all the drawers. I do. I'm not going to steal anything, unlike some other clients that steal stuff. But I mean, like, if I want to open up the cabinets and see what the condition is, because if it's clean and organized in there, then I'm going to feel good about the service that I'm about to get. But if I open up these cabinets and it's a hot mess, like I'm gonna be getting a facial with one eye open. Like,
like, what are you putting on my face? Oh God. I mean, but that's why I'm doing the podcast, the magazine. I feel like even though there's so much information out there, somehow people still don't know that they shouldn't be buying Walmart products to put in their back bar. No offense to Walmart,
no, but come on.
Licensed right? We are licensed professionals, and people are paying us hundreds of dollars for these services. Do your education before you're just like throwing stuff on people's faces. But I do have to say, even when I started as a solo esthetician renting a room, again, this was in 2011 when, again, social media wasn't as much of a thing.
Right.
It was hard to know where to start. I was like, where do I even find Back Bar? Who's, the internet was around, obviously, but like, it's not like it was now. It definitely
Well, yeah,
took a little
brands
more work.
weren't that good at presenting themselves online.
No,
So, yeah,
no.
you had to
So,
find like a local sales rep or something.
right, right. So, I was going to ask you, for a newer esthetician, saying, like you said, they can't afford $5,000-$6,000 to open, a big account. Go with one of the smaller brands, that's
Hmm.
going to like a zero minimum basically to open an account. And also don't get stuck on that you have to use that product the rest of your career. I get a lot of questions like, Casey, how did you decide the skincare lines that you do use, and like how did you find them? And if you guys haven't listened, go back and listen to episode number 2 where I talk about how literally cosmetics fell into my lap. And I was lucky enough that it did happen, and that they're fabulous products to use.
Yeah.
But just because you start your business or you're working for someone else and you learn a line or you're trained on a line doesn't mean you're stuck with that the rest of your career.
Not at
I
all.
think people get so stuck, like, okay, I'm using skin script, like I have to use it the rest of my life. And
Right.
on the other end, I understand, because there's so many skincare lines out there that it can feel overwhelming to introduce a new line when you finally maybe gotten a little bit comfortable. But I'd say don't be afraid, and to continue to educate yourself and learn. I know we've talked about this before, but I'm going to keep talking about it, that like I learn every single day. It's like I have boxes over here with skincare lines, and I'm like, ooh, what's in this? What does this do? How is this going to help me or my potential clients? So
Yeah.
don't get stuck on like just the one brand that maybe you started with because that's all you could afford.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I try to look at it more from an organized perspective now, because it's like, okay, if I'm really going to go into this from the start and I have low investment money, then yes, I'm just going to start with some brands that I've researched that have first, I'm just going to research all the brands out there that offer a 0 opening order minimum. And I'm just, who can I sign up with just with my license and just get going, right? Once I know who all of those are, then I'm going to go and I'm going to, like a checklist, I'm just going to go down the list, each and every one of them, research the brand positioning, research the formulas, and really make a decision from there. Okay, which is the one that I like the best? There might not be any of them out of the list that I'm like, oh, these I totally, vibe with everything about them. No, I mean, there might still be something negative that I find in each and every one of them, but I'm going to pick the best one that's from not only an ingredient perspective, but the packaging looks good. It's the price point is within reason for my clientele in my community.
Right.
We've had so many people that listen that are all across the US. And I mean, from city to city, it can be very different. The price point of a facial from LA to Atlanta, very different. The people that live in these two cities and what they're willing to spend on their skincare at home, very different, so we just have to keep those things in mind. But yeah, start where you can, and then start to work your way up, sell through that inventory.
Right.
You can really, I was never a numbers person, but there are certain things that you do have to force yourself to get good at when it comes to numbers, unfortunately. And it's not hard math that you have to get good at, thankfully, but you can set sort of a profitable roadmap for yourself. And so what I would tell you to do is to, save a little chunk of money that you're going to say, okay, this is going to be my investment money that I'm going to use to buy that first stock of product from that brand that I like, that has no opening order minimum. Okay. But then go ahead and do the math, like map it out. Like, what's the actual retail value of what you're investing in, so that you know what your return on investment is going to be. So for a fact that I've purchased X amount and it's going to return X amount of dollars once I sell every single one of these bottles. So then when you get to that point, that's when you say, okay, so out of that total profit, I'm going to take this chunk of that total profit because I know I've got this amount of money's got to go back into my business to cover my expenses and help me to reorder. But then I can take this chunk of that profit and I can set it to the side. And when I turn that inventory at least 3 times and keep setting that little chunk of profit off to the side 3 times, then that 3 times chunk of profit that I've just saved is going to be my next investment capital for the next brand that I've been researching that I want to go invest in, right? So you just keep yourself organized and set those goals so that you're making your money work for you and your business. And then each time, you kind of level up, but what are you leveling up to? Are you leveling up to better formulas? Are you leveling up to just a more better known brand that might sell a little better because it has better consumer recognition? Are you leveling up to something that actually gives you more profitability? Because if you're really a business owner, you're going to be looking for products that give you the biggest return on your investment as well. So, there's a variety of things that a smart business person is going to think about when it comes to investing, but it doesn't have to be daunting. And I remember years back being in that position where I just was like, holy crap, where do I get started? But what's so funny? That same feeling that I had back then, like, oh, holy crap, where do I get started? That, kind of weight on your chest, like, I don't know where to get started. It was the same exact feeling I had when I was last year when I was trying to write this blog and set up this website. It was like, what, oh my God, what am I doing? How am I going to get started? I don't know what to do. Like, where, and if you succumb to that, then you just become completely counterproductive. Right. So, my biggest, it can paralyze you. I didn't even realize, it's so crazy. I operate so confidently at work, but when I go home at night to write my own content, it's like I become like this petrified, like what, what just happened? Like, why is this so difficult all of a sudden?
It's your name, right? It's all
it's coming directly from you. Yeah.
Which is also so great because then you can be proud that it's all you.
Yes.
Yeah. I think things feel very daunting for all of us. And, I like how you broke it down, how you can easily save money and reinvest into your business.
Yeah.
And these are the things that estheticians don't always think about, but you need to be thinking about them. They need to be talked about. And, just put one foot in front of the other.
One foot in front of the other.
Right.
Yes.
And make a list and then another list and then another list, and you got a lot of lists, but you got a lot of
lists, but the list will help you get there. And
really
hey, if you ask my mother, I was a brat. Like, I was a bratty child. I was a rebellious child.
We both were, Ryan. We both were.
I never wanted to do anything I was told. And it's funny that personality kind of stuck with me even as I got older. It was like, growing up, living on my own and working on my own, as hard of a worker as I was, I also had like this little rebellious child in the back of my mind that was like, I knew all the right things I was supposed to do, but I intentionally sometimes just wouldn't do them because I'm like, oh yeah.
Sabotage.
Yes, self-sabotage, exactly. Like, oh, well, I go to sit at all these organized meetings where they're like, oh, well, you can be more efficient if you like make your lists and write down your goals, and then you check them off at the end of each day and you review them at the end of each day. And I'm like, yeah. I'm never going to I don't need a list. And now I'm here like in my 30s going, okay, let's see. Let me look at my list. Hold on.
Right.
I'm like, hold on. Let me go back to my list.
Right.
I can't answer that question for you. I have to check my list first. One moment.
Hold on. Let me check my 20 lists. I talk about this with Haley all the time because Ryan and we are very similar with our whole rebellious and like, don't tell me how to do it. I know how to do it. Oh,
just gonna do it
out. Right. Which
I think
is a good.
As like an outside perspective, that's part of your drive. That's what's like making you do all these amazing things is like, you can tell me that, but like, watch me, like, I'm going to do it. But that's great.
Well, thank you, Haley.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that support.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I love this sisterly love.
Aw.
Sisterly love.
You get the love too, Ryan.
Did you fight as kids?
Yeah.
It was mostly like Casey was my boss.
Or her.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So things have not changed.
No.
No, I'm not mean to her.
She's not.
Okay. We were super, it's really funny. Okay, we'll just talk for a second.
Quick story.
quick story. We were just going through, we just did a full new photo shoot. We're doing a full rebrand, new website, just, cause I'm not busy or anything. We're not busy or anything.
Right.
And we're going through the pictures today with my mom, and there's this picture of Haley and I in the bathtub together.
Mm-hmm.
And it was literally just like, Haley and I have been in the bathtub together since 1993, and literally nothing has changed. I mean, Haley and I, even though we're almost 5 years apart, we've always been super, super close, but I've always been the boss, like full on.
110%.
Like poor Haley, like I'm just in charge, and that's just how it is. It's just like ingrained inside of me. I'm the oldest. You have that like oldest
Gotcha.
thing. I'm very independent. I'm very bossy. And Haley's personality actually works very well with mine. I don't know if she turned out the way she is partially because of me.
I think
that's not like go me, Casey.
Right. Yeah. No.
But I think it's just how Haley came out, honestly.
Yes, I think I was born this way, but our personalities, they work. I mean, it's what creates all this stuff, all the things you're doing. Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Yeah. But
I love it.
She puts up with my crazy, but yeah, we were definitely very close as kids. When I became like a teenager and Haley was still like a kid, there was a gap, a real big gap at one point. Like I was just a bitchy teenager, like a lot of.
Well, I think we all were.
Preach, sister.
Right.
Yes.
She's saying it.
I was just, I wasn't nice to anybody, really, not even myself, right? So
definitely not.
Thank God we got past that.
Yes.
But if you haven't figured out, I'm a lot. Like I'm a lot. But Haley,
we figured it out, Casey. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome. But Haley helps me. Haley like levels me out. She's patient with me. She, I'm learning from her to like chill out sometimes, and vice versa. But yeah. I'm like,
see, you support each other.
We do.
That's wonderful.
At the end of the day, we both want the same things, and we're, our number one cheerleaders. We're both supporting each other, which is amazing that we have that.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. It's so cool to see. And I never thought we would be here like creating all this stuff together.
I was going to say it's a really good dynamic for a healthy working relationship along with being family. So that's awesome. And I mean, the age gap obviously is, it's different, but it's close enough still that you guys could grow up together. I have an older brother, but he's 10 years older than me. So when I was a little kid, from like being born all the way to 8 years old, we just pestered the hell out of each other because he was already had lived on Earth 10 years prior to me and had his only child time. And then, so by the time he was becoming like a bratty teen, I was coming into the picture. So we basically just tortured each other. And then we became friends as adults. Once I was in my 20s and he was in his 30s and we were both out of the house and doing our own thing, now we're like good friends. But as children growing up, that 10-year difference was just torture.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Especially with you being the younger one. I know that's probably hard.
I will say on the latter half, because obviously by the time I was like 9, 10, he was out of the house. So then I got to have my teenage years by myself as an only child, which was actually really cool thinking back on it. Yeah, it was nice. It was actually nice.
It worked out in your favor.
Yeah, it did. I was still an angry teen, but I didn't have a sibling.
We all were. We all were.
We all were together. We would have been angry together. Okay. I was going to ask you this at the beginning of us recording, but we just got like right into it. Yeah. I have a couple last questions, but we're going to put this actually probably at the beginning of the podcast.
Oh, cool.
Number one, where are you from? This is Skin and the City. What city are you from?
Well, hello, Skin in the City. My name is Ryan Christopher. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I am originally from Atlanta. Yes, I was born. Actually, there's a funny joke about being from Georgia, because if you ask someone from Georgia where you were or where they're from or where they're born, they will tell you. They won't just say, "Oh, I was born in Georgia." They'll say the specific city and they'll name the hospital, which is the absolute truth. If you stop anyone in the state of Georgia and ask them where they were born, they will tell you the name of the hospital that they were born at. So I was born at DeKalb General in Decatur, Georgia. Decatur is a little a little suburb of Atlanta. So yeah, I was born in Atlanta. And I love this place. I love the South. Right. I will never live anywhere where it snows. I just won't. I have driven through the Canadian Rockies in February at a time where avalanches were very real, and I should not have been there, but I was doing it for work because I'm such a good employee. I hope my boss is listening. And then also I've driven through Manhattan, in the snow. I've driven through Colorado in the snow. I mean, I've been in snow, but I will never live in a snowy climate. So I love the South for that very reason. I love it that we don't have winter here. We'll have a few weeks, and we had a few weeks between December and January where the temperature got down to freezing like late at night. But other than that, I mean, I really love living in the South for that very reason.
I mean, I love the South. I love Atlanta, so I don't blame you.
We had such a great trip. You guys need to come back.
I know. I've never been.
Oh, we need to have another Atlanta adventure. But remember, you have to come to Atlanta. Yes, early spring. So you can't come you have to come between Easter and Memorial Day weekend. So
I'm open.
Which is what Haley's open.
She's like, yep, and I'm there.
I'm coming.
Like, I'm there. Side note, if anyone didn't realize, Ryan and I are like actual real friends. Like,
yes.
But I'm also not just having you on I am having you on the podcast because I like to talk to you because you're my friend, but also because you have so much great information as a business owner, as an educator, as an esthetician. I could keep going on and on.
Just a random person in life, that.
No, you are a friend, like a true friend. Like
we are good friends. I meant to say I have lots of random life thoughts, like just.
Yes, random life thoughts. We have a lot of those. We talk about all sorts of random life thoughts.
Yes.
But I do have to say one little story when we actually met, because we did meet through cosmetics.
Yes.
But our relationship has literally nothing to do about cosmetics, even though we talk about it a lot because like you're my SD bestie. So of course we're going to talk shop.
Of course.
And skincare and cosmetics and all the gossip. But I specifically remember the day that I met you when you came into Glow and we had like a conversation. I think we did like an Instagram live and all this stuff. And this is when I was first like building my Instagram. Like, yes. I feel like I just came on the radar to you guys. You're like, ooh, who is this girl? She's doing things. So thank you because you guys really helped, like elevate, my career, my business.
Of course.
And I just remember going home that night and telling Brandon, I'm like, I'm going to be friends with him. Like, we're friends. Like, I said, like, if we lived in the same city, I feel like we'd like be BFF. But I was like, we're gonna be friends. But like, I didn't know if it would really like come. I just got a good feeling from you,
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like, there's a difference between like networking with someone. And then I was like, wait, no, like I really like you. And then I came to Atlanta to do some stuff with cosmetics. We went out, we had a great time. And then you invited us back. And I was like, okay, yeah, like, no, we're coming. And literally booked a flight, like, I think as soon as I got home.
Oh, that was the funniest thing.
I know. And
the rest is history. But you did. You looked me. I remember I was driving you back to the hotel from the dinner, and you were flying out the next day. You'd been with us for a few days, and I said, oh yeah, if you and Brandon should come back to Atlanta, you can stay with me at my place. So we'll have a weekend. I'll show you around the town. And I was being sincere. It'll just throw that out there. But I mean, I just remember looking over. I mean, you looked me dead in the eyes and was like, okay, I'm taking you up on that. Like, I mean, like, and you were like, there was like this.
That's so Casey
moment where you were like, yeah, okay, yeah. And you were not more than 48 hours later, like messaging me like, hey,
here's my itinerary.
Yeah. Brandon and I talked. We're going to set some dates. We're going to come down. And you did. Like, we had such a good time. It was such a great weekend.
Yeah. So for anyone out there, if you invite me, be careful because I will show up.
You will. Yes, you will. No,
but not just for anybody, only if I like you.
Right.
That's another thing. So, I was like, are you sure you're inviting me? Because I'm going to come.
I'm a lot. I'm coming.
I'm a lot. I'm coming. And and we had a great trip.
Yes, yes. And we will have more future great
I know.
trips.
One of these days, we are very overdue to see each other. We had so
I
many
know.
grand plans for 2020, but you know what? Here we are now.
Here we are
Um,
now,
okay, so
2021.
2021.
Yes.
Now
Do
that we've been
over.
blabbing for like an hour, I'm going to ask you one more question. We're probably
Yes.
also going to put this at the beginning of the podcast. Thank God we
Okay.
have an editor.
Yeah.
Um, at the beginning of every episode, I like to give the audience a glow tip, right? So this can be a skincare tip, this can be a treatment room tip, a business tip, anything that like, someone could implement to benefit themselves as an esthetician. If that's too vague, I can break it down for you. Do you have a simple glow tip for our listeners?
A simple glow tip, something that could be, like you said, it could be in the treatment room, professionally
Yeah, I mean,
related, or
it can be as simple as like, girl, you need to be double cleansing your clients.
oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's something that
Da,
I
da,
have
I
been
da.
feel like
preaching for
I know,
many years, and I don't
I
think
know.
I will ever, ever, ever stop.
Oh, I have an
Um,
idea slash question maybe that might help. Like, do you have like a specific facial massage technique that like everyone could do that you can explain really well?
I mean,
I don't. I mean, you can go to my website, beautybyryan.com, and
Hmm.
you can check out the facial massage benefits blog, which comes with a YouTube video right at the top of the page. So watch that video because I actually talk about 3 specific muscles on the face and show how to massage them in order to get relaxation. But I actually show like the specific direction that you want to massage these muscles in order to get the ultimate relaxation and in order to smooth wrinkles. But as far as an actual routine, it's funny. We've had the request at cosmetics to create like a massage routine, and I've never
right.
created one because cosmetics, in my mind, has always been positioned as, a more clinical brand. We're not like a European sensorial brand where we have like a step-by-step cleansing routine. I mean, we have protocols for you to follow for the treatments themselves, but I think when it comes down to the massage, as long as you're doing a thorough massage, following all the techniques, then whatever routine you want to do is still going to be thorough, right?
Hmm.
Right.
There is, as far as a massage technique, there is one thing that I love to do in my facials that I incorporate from my massage days it's called a sub-occipital release that's right at the base of the skull. So you basically take both of your hands and you create just like a row with your fingertips on both hands. So you just press your fingertips all together so that they're in one nice single row. And when you scoop up under your client's head, you pick up their whole head and you take that row of your fingertips and you find first you find what we call the EOP, the external occipital protuberance, that big old bump on the back of your head that we all feel, but then right underneath that bump, it's almost like a shelf that just drops off, and that's where the base of your skull begins to drop. And then there's a lot of connective tissue, there's a lot of tendons and muscular connections right there, and then your atlas and your C1 of your cervical spine is right there. So if you just scoop up the whole head, get your fingers in this row, and then press your fingers just straight up into the neck, right under the base of that EOP where the skull drops off and the top of the cervical spine begins. And you're not going to damage anything. You have the client relax their head. And I usually tell my clients, hey, take a deep breath, try to relax the weight of your head in my hands. And as they breathe and relax, the top of their head will fall back more and the tip of their chin will start to point up towards the ceiling, and because of the pressure that you're applying at the base of the skull with your fingertips, right?
Yeah.
Now you have your hands laying on the treatment table. You have to make sure that they're completely supported because your fingers, you want to keep them locked in a straight position the whole time, and you want to hold this for at least 60 seconds. If you can hold this position for, 2 to 3 minutes, just asking your client to take some deep breaths, then you'll just, every time they take a deep breath and you hold your fingers in this row, you'll feel the connective tissue and the muscle tissue and everything kind of start to soften, and you'll actually feel your fingers sink into the tissue a little bit more. So the more you hold it, the more of a release you're going to get. Just ask the client to keep taking these deep breaths. And then when you're ready to release, you just slowly slide your hands. You release that fingertip pressure and you slide your hands up and out from underneath your client's head, just kind of like pulling on their head just slightly to extend the neck, kind of creating some circulation in that area where you just loosened all that soft tissue and that muscle, and then bring your hands away and just kind of let there be like a moment of rest for them and their brains to kind of feel what you just did, because they will feel kind of this wave of circulation happen in the back of their neck and go down into their upper shoulders, and it has a prolonged effect, because where your fingertips are holding is right at the spot of multiple points of very important functional muscles that are connecting to the back of the skull. So we're talking about your levator scapula muscle that attaches to your shoulder blade. We're talking about multiple points of your trapezius muscle, which is that massive muscle at the top of our shoulders that we love to have massaged. Even your latissimus dorsi, which is the biggest muscle on our entire torso that's on our back, it runs up through connective tissue and connects to the back of your skull. So, I mean, there's just such an important point to hold. And if you can do that hold it successfully, and like I said, hold it for at least 60 seconds, but I always do it for sometimes up to 5 minutes if my fingertips can kind of take it. But it sends your client into a whole nother world of relaxation. They absolutely.
It sounds amazing. I'm like, I want to go home and do that to my husband.
They even make, I don't know if you've seen these in advertisements. They make these, they're almost like, it's like a little block that it looks like two tennis ball halves that have been kind of meshed together. So there's just a little ridge. I forget what they're called, but you can order them and you just lay on the floor and position that little spot in the same exact spot, and you just sit there, and it's meant to be like a cervical decompression tool where you can release muscle tension and pressure on your neck and help to eliminate headaches and migraines. So it's a wonderful stretch to do.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So guys, try it and let us know. Let Ryan know how you like it. Yeah, I'd say start with 60 seconds if you haven't done it before, just for your own personal strength of your hands. It really does.
Especially the dexterity in your fingertips and strengthen your fingertips. If you haven't done it, you cannot have nails. You cannot have nails. I'm glad that I said, I'm like, if you have nails and you're going to gouge, it's not going to feel good whatsoever. Like, you have to be a real esthetician and like have your fingernails filed down, soft curve on the top, so that there's nothing poking into the back of their neck. You cannot have nails and do this. You will probably murder your client.
You probably will. And I'm going to just throw in my glow tip. And Ryan, I think you agree with me on this.
Yes.
If you are an esthetician doing facials, you shouldn't have long nails to begin with.
Oh, yeah, no.
I know people have other opinions, but Ryan and I, no nails, you guys. And
no nails.
No nails.
It's just, it's not good. And it really, so many things can happen. I mean, you keep your nails done. I go and get manicures constantly. Keep your nails done, but I mean, just, you have to watch out. It can't have an edge. It can't have a point or a tip. I mean, we're doing a lot of massage anyway. So, whether you think you're doing it or not, if you have nails, I guarantee you've scratched or clawed your clients at some point in the service and not even realized it, and again, the clients are nice. They're not going to say anything, but I have been the client many times where, our massage routines are very repetitive. So, if you, it just keeps happening. It's like you do that one stroke repetitively. And if you have like a little hangnail or something or like an edge, and it's like, ow, ow, there she goes again. Ow. Oh, there she comes again. Ow. I'm like just constantly like,
I don't do it anymore. Oh my God. So funny.
Yeah, no, it's a good glow tip. I mean, keep the nails short, keep them clean. I mean, I think having good clean nails and good clean hands is just as important as having a clean face. I mean, we are walking billboards. So I mean, you have to keep it together. I laugh, this is the first year where all of the major trade shows that estheticians would go visit, like the New York trade show that's always in March. There's one that I've always participated in Chicago around April, the Vegas show in June. all of those are canceled.
I know.
They're not doing them at all.
So sad.
But it makes me think I'm not actually upset that I'm missing these, because to operate in those shows as a vendor, and like, oh, it's a nightmare. But what I will say is especially the New York show, I would walk the New York show floor every year, and I love my East Coast people. My East Coast people, they're just not like West Coast people. Okay, East Coast people,
I know.
we're all about the hustle. We're all about the business and getting the work done. And on the East Coast, it doesn't matter what you look like, right? So we get when you're at the New York show at the Javits Center in March, you'll be at these booths with like these old, like I'm talking old Long Island ladies with like wrinkles to the floor. Like I saw them on their smoke break, prior to the show outside the Javits Center, just puffing away on a pack of cigarettes. And they will just sit there and try to hawk you their skincare. They'll be like, oh, this is, and of course it's always some old Russian lady, she's like, oh, this is like a facelift in a bottle. You will love this serum. And I'm like, girl, well, why don't you use it? I don't understand. I will not miss those trade shows, but yes, looking the part is very much an esthetician thing, and it's very much a West Coast thing, because
it is, but I think it should be an everybody thing.
It should be an everybody thing. And now, of course, since we're all trying to look our best on social media,
that needs to translate over into your business or your spa or wherever you're working, right? Just look clean and professional. Even if that's where you're wearing scrubs, look clean, put your hair back,
look clean and professional. You know what, I think back, because I caused myself a lot of stress not deciding on just one professional uniform. And, if I go back into full-time practice, then I will definitely just have one standard thing that I wear, whether it's just a basic, I don't think it would be a basic scrub outfit. I really like scrub pants, but I don't like scrub tops. I like some of the more spa fitted uniform tops that kind of have the zip up and maybe like the nice little mandarin collar. It just looks like really clean, little matrix-ish, But I mean, I would totally just have multiple versions of that in the closet. And when I go to work, that's what I wear. Like, that's my I'm like, who am I trying to impress? I'm going to work to do these clinical services. It's not about me. It's about my client. Right. So
totally. Agree with that 100%. So clean, whatever you feel comfortable with, but make sure you're looking put together.
Make sure you're looking put together. Yes. And then let the client do the talking. That's my other glow tip, because I was actually just receiving a service not too long ago at a place. I've been trying to be like supportive of local businesses lately, and just where I see I can go and do it safely, I will go out and schedule a service. And, I went to go get a service. These people, did not know who I was or my place in the industry or anything like that. I was just a client. Right. Yeah. And, unfortunately, the technicians there that were working at the spa just were the kind of people that just were just talking non-stop. Like, they were talking to each other, they were talking to me, but they were talking about themselves. Like, I walked into a spa that was already having their own party and had nothing to do with me whatsoever. So while I was receiving my service, it was great, and everybody was really, really nice. I mean, nobody was rude whatsoever, but I know more about those people's personal lives than I should ever know. And I don't even know who these people are. And I'm not going to go back, because I learned way too much about people that I've never met before. And
that's not what you want when you're going to get a service. You're going to have
not what you want when you're going to get a service.
Self-care moment. This
exactly.
is not, as practitioners in the treatment room, we should not be blabbing all of our personal information unless we eventually establish that kind of relationship and the client asks.
Yeah, exactly. But it's basic psychology too. People like to talk about themselves. So if you want to make sure that if you want to guarantee that your clients have a positive experience when they come to see you, ask them questions about them, like ask them questions, give them to talk to you about what they do and their lives and what they're up to. It all plays into your service and your skin analysis anyway.
Exactly. I mean, the first few things that I say when I have a client, and if it's a new client, it's like, after I ask them all the things, right? Are you allergic and concerns and all that stuff? I have a whole spiel with that, which maybe we'll get into one day. Then it's like, I'm going to let you relax. let me know if you have any questions along the way.
Yeah.
And that, if they want to ask me,
Beautiful.
I don't care what they ask me, if they want to ask, or we just have a nice quiet time.
Yeah.
Done.
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. Just make it really simple for them. All right, Ryan. Now that we've been talking for I don't even know how long, a lot.
It's
I feel like we
wonderful.
covered so many good things. I feel
We
like
did.
have,
We covered a lot of great topics.
Yes, I feel like we could have a 10-hour podcast.
Well, this is why I'm a regular thing, right?
Yes.
This is why I'm
this is maybe 1 of 10. This is episode 1 of 10 or however many we're gonna have Ryan
Every
on.
10 we have Ryan on.
Yeah, but my
Mr.
laptop's at 8%. So
we're
gonna. Okay. I'm about to die over here.
Okay, so Ryan, tell us where everyone can find you, your Instagram, your website, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I am at beautybyryan.com. That is my blog site, links to all my social media and my YouTube. So www.beautybyryan.com. Very simple. And then my Beauty by Ryan Instagram is beauty_by_Ryan. And that's where I am on Instagram. I do have my RC Skincare Instagram as well. But as I said before, Beauty by Ryan is now my just strictly professional. I'm going to stay very professional. I'm just going to keep it all skincare content related there. And then RC Skincare, God only knows what you're going to get. It's just my daily life. Most of the time, I'm not that active on social media anyway. I'm way too busy at work. So most of the time I wake up in the morning and I post something and then you don't see me for another 5 to 6 hours until I'm home again. So, RC Skincare is just still going to be my profile where I'm just going to post whatever the hell I want. And then Beauty by Ryan is my professional site for all things skincare and beauty.
I love it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what you're going to do next.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of
Skin in the
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of Skin in the City, and I hope everybody's enjoying the first kickoff article, but already working on the next one, and super happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear what you're writing about. It's going to be
good.
Yay. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. You guys can stop recording.
Okay. I'm scared.